Kathy at Northstar Prepsteader. Well, a few months ago, I did a live show talking about what's in your tea. And because I don't drink coffee, but I drink a lot of tea. There was a great discussion on it and a lot of information given. But I think a lot of information that a lot of you are going to be very interested in. And so I decided to do another video because very few people go back and actually watch live shows. I know I don't. So, I mean, other than maybe just try to catch it from somebody you know the next day or something like that, or later that evening. But to go back months later and actually watch a live, very little of that is done. So this is a video on what is in the tea, what's in your tea bags, and what kind of things that you can watch for. And it may just turn you to doing loose tea completely, like it has for me. And in fact, growing my own or getting as many leaves organically as I can. Now, one of the first things you want to not do is buy your tea in the bottles. And I know I still do when I'm on the road and I'm at, you know, a gas station or something, and I just don't want water, or I've got a lot of water but I just want something else. Instead of grabbing a soda, I will look at some teas and everything, but they're still not good. Among a whole bunch of ingredients that you can't even pronounce, much less spell, they have high fructose corn syrup, sometimes soy products, sometimes other corn products, and then of course your artificial sweeteners, which are just not good for you. So if at all possible, stay away from those. So this green tea, as you can see by the ingredients, just says organic green tea leaves. And so the ingredients are good, but we'll get back to these later. Now this particular green tea, and I'm not picking on one brand over another, this is kind of a general thing across the board. Now this is a cranberry pomegranate, which I really like a flavor in my tea if I can. But you look on the back and it says that it contains, right here, it says it contains soy. Now I don't have the box anymore for this, but what I looked at on the box it said, you know, soy leaves and different things like that. So these have actually very little green tea in it. There's very little cranberry or pomegranate. They fill it with soy product and soy leaves and everything, just as a filler to make these bags look nice and big and full. So if you have any allergies to soy, this is very detrimental to your health. Now another thing that happens is that they do not wash the leaves before they go into these tea bags. So they can be in fields where there's animals, or, you know, birds flying over, pooping on them, workers that don't have clean hands, you know, the baskets or containers that they're put in or whatever. Then they go into their dehydrator or however they dry them and different things like that. So you're getting tea that's probably not very clean, and then it's put into the bags. Now many of the teas that you get here, the ingredients will show, I don't know if you can read this or not, like this just says chamomile, but it says gluten-free, naturally caffeine, everything. And it seems like, okay, that's all wonderful, it's a herbal tea, but the thing is, it's not organic. It doesn't say non-GMO or anything, but it's definitely not organic, which means that this crop has been sprayed with chemicals and cancer-causing pesticides. The thing is that those pesticides then go into your cup when you're making your tea, using your tea bag. Then the hot water intensifies the chemicals in their potency. So one of the reasons that they tell you only to steep it, when they say only steep 4 to 6 minutes, and then after that you say, well, it'll turn bitter and everything. The bitterness comes from the chemicals that they use. It has nothing to do with the chamomile flower itself. It's all the chemicals. Same with this one. It's got chamomile, spearmint, lemongrass, tilia, blackberry leaves, orange blossoms, hawthorn, and rosebuds. All very wonderful and good and healthy for you, but again, laced with chemicals, and it's not going to be beneficial in the long run. So again, not organic. Okay, so you're going to go to some things that are seem to be better for you, that they're organic. There's straight black tea, organic green leaf tea, you know, some of these other products that are really, really beneficial and healthy for you. What do I have in here? I've got Good Earth here. It's a flavored tea. Doesn't say anything about organic. Doesn't say how long to steep them. Probably was on the box, but I no longer have that. You know, Bigelow tea, secret recipe of orange rind and sweet spice. Here it says steep it 2 minutes, and then they say after that it's bitter. Well, it's bitter because of the chemicals on there. So I've got kind of like a whole mix of things in here, but and I hang on to them in case there's something somebody else wants. And I actually use these to make kombucha, but I'm actually going to consider changing the way I do that. I'm going to put in the link below a website that I went to for looking at all of these different brands and seeing what they have and whether or not they're on the list of what should be good or healthy for you. Just for an example, 91% of Celestial Seasonings tea tested had pesticide residues exceeding the U.S. limits. For example, Sleepy Time Kids Good Night Grape. Now this is not the kids one, but it's still a Sleepy Time. But the Sleepy Time Kids Good Night Grape Herbal contained propichlor, which is a known carcinogen under California's Proposition 65. So a Sleepy Time for kids, and we're feeding them pesticides. There was actually a lawsuit in 2014 against Celestial Seasonings for poisoning consumers. Their defense is that they never claimed on the packaging that it was free from the pesticides, so they're not liable. So again, look on the back to see what's there. Just because they don't claim that there's pesticides on it doesn't mean that there's not used. So look for the organic if you're going with this type of thing.
So you're thinking, well, what about all those high-end loose leaf teas like Tivana and the different things like that? Well, I'm just going to read this off here. Tivana was tested by an independent lab, and 100% of it was found to contain pesticides. One tea in particular, the monkey-picked oolong, contained 23 pesticides. 77% of the European Union would fail the import standards of tea, and they would be banned. 62% of the teas contained traces of endosulfan, a pesticide that has actually been banned by the US. Not only the United States, but also China, the European Union, and 144 other countries, because it has been linked to impaired fertility and could harm unborn babies. So what is my alternative? I'm trying to grow as many of the herbs that I use for my teas as possible. I'm already growing peppermint and oregano, which I harvested this last year. I'm going to try to add mullein and sage this summer and see what else I can do. I think I have chamomile too. Yes, I'm going to grow some chamomile. If you're going to grow this, find out exactly, what teas you need and what are beneficial for your health, and then grow those things.
So you can see that I've got things in a jar. Now, this mullein I'd actually ordered, I think on Amazon last year, and I've been going through it, but it does last a long time. Probably can have one order a year, but I'm going to grow my own. Here's what I have left of my oregano, so I'm going to have to go and get some more organic oregano leaves. And then my peppermint. I have another jar, but I also have a full jar of my homegrown peppermint leaves too. But I do have a source at a store where I know I can buy them. So I have a few different items that I can use for making tea, and it all depends on how much you want to use, how you use it, what works for you. Here is a tea ball that
unscrews in the middle, and you put the tea in there, and then just put this back in, turn it, hang it on the side of your mug or on the tea kettle or whatever you're going to use. Here is, like, you squeeze that, put your leaves in there, close it up, and then you can just put it in your mug and then pull it out when you're done. I like to use this one because it not only sits flat in my mug, I get this nice little tray to sit on, and it holds a lot of tea, and I could make like 4 cups at one time instead of just doing 1 mug at a time. I'll put a link to Amazon where I got these. The order comes with 2 of these, so which is pretty nice. So if you have 2 people in the family that drink tea, you can put the different leaves in there that you want at a time.
So you might be saying, well, I make tea bags or I use my own. Well, let's talk about the tea bags, all right? I'm gonna first take you back to the other ones and then kind of compare along the way.
You might have a tea bag that's got wonderful, good, healthy ingredients in it, but then you've got the bag. If it's just straight paper that you know is organic paper, you should be okay with it. But there are newer teas that have like this silky material for the bag, and they call it a silky sachet or a luxurious mesh bag.
And brands like Tea Forte and Mighty Leaf, they tout those as, oh, just high-end teas that you can put, you know, they just sell the bag itself. Then you could put your loose leaf in there. Well, all of these bags contain plastic, and plastic is made from petroleum along with some other chemicals. Now you put that plastic in hot water and it's going to leach those chemicals. It's going to melt to a degree. That's why they say no longer than a couple minutes in the hot water, because it's leaching those chemicals. The plastic is melting, and it's like you're drinking all of that. You go and spend all kinds of money for these wonderful teas, the organic leaves and everything, and then you're putting them in these bags, and it's like, it's just not worth it. There's a quote online that says, well, while these plastics are generally considered among the safest in terms of leaching potential, the molecules in these plastic tea bags may still in fact break down and leach out when steeped in boiling water. Well, of course we make our tea in boiling water because that's what the tea leaves need to draw the properties out of the actual plant. Then they release phthalates. And a phthalate is the chemical that's used to make plastic. Now, if you want to make some tea bags of your own out of organic muslin or cotton or something like that, that could probably work. Granted, you know that it's going to stain them after a while, and even if you wash them in soap and stuff, you have to kind of gauge how much of all of that you want in your tea. I still think the best way is just getting the tea leaves themselves, your organic leaves, putting them straight into your purified hot water and letting them steep. The thing is, when you use just the leaves and just the water, you can steep them for like a half an hour, and they're still going to taste just as wonderful as if you only put them in for 3 minutes or 5 minutes. In fact, probably even a greater flavor, because it's taking time to get all those wonderful ingredients out. So the long and the short of it is, if you're trying to brew tea and it says only 4 or 5 minutes or something, then it'll turn bitter, know that that's going to be chemical laden and pesticide laden. So anyway, guys, I hope this will encourage you to grow your own tea, to grow your own herbs for your teas. Just try to stay really healthy. So anyway, take care, God bless, and always have hope. Bye.